intermediate yoga. Today we're going to go for about 30 minutes and we're going to focus on the squat. The squat is one of many, well, not many, it's one of several fundamental functional movement patterns that we should all do our best to maintain, especially as we get older. It doesn't mean squatting with weights, like when you see powerlifters put 500 pounds on their shoulders and squat up and down. It just basically means being able to get up and down off of a chair without assistance, up and down off a couch without assistance, sometimes up and down off the ground without assistance. It's just a good movement pattern to maintain. So let's try to do a squat right now just to get some before data. So we'll see if we squat better after doing some of this yoga stuff. Now, for the body weight squat right now, don't try too hard. Don't force yourself into anything. Just give an honest assessment of where you are now. So with your feet about hip width apart, turn your feet out maybe 5 or 10 degrees, just a little bit. You don't want to be completely duck-footed. Just turn your feet out a tiny little bit. Keep your chest up. If you can, maybe your arms come out to counterbalance. Inhale, exhale, and just do your best squat. The best squat that you can. You don't have to do a squat like I'm doing. You may have only moved half an inch. You may have even gone deeper than me. And then when you're done, that's it. So we'll just see where your squat is right now. And then let's go through some yoga poses and see if we can help improve the squat. Okay, so to warm up, we're going to lie on the tummy and let's do some crocodile breathing. Crocodile breathing is another term for diaphragmatic breathing. Just breathe in and out through your nose and breathe in and out through your tummy. So when you inhale, you feel your tummy press into the ground. When you exhale, you feel your tummy move away from the ground. And that's it. Inhales are active. Exhales are passive. As you inhale, try to feel your tummy press into the ground. Maybe you feel your kidneys move left and right. Maybe you feel some air fill up in your low back. And when you exhale, it's just like letting the air out of a balloon. Just a couple more breaths here. Good. And let's come to Sphinx pose. Palms on the ground, elbows on the ground. Tone your legs about 20%. Tone your glutes about 20%. And lift your head up to the best of your ability. And again, continue breathing in and out through your nose. So hopefully you can feel your tummy pressing into the ground here. We're starting to mobilize the spine a little bit. We've got spinal extension. We're warming up the rib cage, warming up the shoulders. If you're toning your legs and glutes, you're warming up your legs and glutes. Of course you're toning them. Steady breathing. One more inhale. Exhale. Now we just continue warming up the rest of the body. We do the 8-point plank. Tuck your toes under. Face forward, keep breathing. As you exhale, keep breathing, but pull your face straight back. And now we begin to flex the spine. Starting from your t-shirt tag, way up high up on your bottom part of your neck, start to push your spine up toward the ceiling. So you're curling up into a ball. Flexing the spine all the way down to the tailbone. Your belly button will peel off the ground. Your thigh bones will peel off the ground. And you come into a low plank position. Keep working on tucking the tailbone between your legs. Try to keep your hips relatively low. Don't let your hips go up too high. Hang in there and work with me here and breathe. Brace your abs for 3, 2, keep tucking your tail. 1, now slowly lower down, please. Good. Now we work the opposite side of the torso with locust pose. Push down through your toes. Push your toes into the ground. Push your legs into the ground. Tuck your pelvis. Arms by your side, palms up, please. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards your spine and start to externally rotate the upper parts of your arms. So your arms are going to rotate, and that's going to pull your shoulder blades closer to your spine. Now once your arms are in position, arms straight, shoulders down, shoulder blades towards your spine, start to lift your torso. Lift your chin off the ground. Lift your chest bone off the ground. Lift some ribs up off the ground and breathe. Push through the lower part of your body and lift through the upper part of your body. Shoulders down, shoulder blades towards your spine, arms straight, and breathe for 3, 2, 1. Gently come down to the earth. Hands under your shoulders, brace yourself. Push to all fours. Tuck your toes under, and we're going to do downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, push your hips back and up as you begin to straighten your legs. Breathe. Downward dog is an excellent opportunity to wake up your quadriceps muscles. Quadriceps muscles are on the front of your legs. The big muscles on the front of your thighs. By contracting the quadriceps, you're waking up some of the muscles that help with the squat, but they're also helping to stretch your hamstrings here. Breathe with me for 3, 2, 1. Look between your thumbs and as gracefully as possible, come on down to all fours. If all fours is uncomfortable for you, either or, grab some pillows or some blankets and get them under your knees, or just have a seat for a minute or 2, and then we'll pick up after this movement pattern. It's called the rocking. So if we can do all fours, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, try to extend your spine. So extending your spine is when you lift your chest and you lift your tailbone. Keeping your tailbone and your chest lifted, we rock back and forth. Push your seat towards your heels, but look up, and then pull your seat away from your heels. And breathe. Now, rocking is teaching us how to squat. It's ensuring we have the range of motion to perform a bodyweight squat. Squatting is hip flexion, just like this, and knee flexion. If you are unable to rock, you may want to forego squatting for a little while. It just means you may not have the requisite mobility. If you cannot rock back and forth like this, you may want to get it checked out by a doctor, physical therapist, or someone who can help you increase your mobility. Of course, if you have an existing condition, degenerative bone condition, or if you've had surgery and you just can't get into a squat, well, then just skip squatting altogether. But if you do have this kind of range of motion, where you can flex your knees a lot, flex your hips a lot, keep your chest up, there's a good chance that we can work with a bodyweight squat. Good. Now, from here, tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Take a look between your thumbs. Take a little baby step forward with your right foot, A little baby step forward with your left foot. Walk your hands to your feet, shins, knees. And we get into a rearward shift. The rearward shift is the first half of a squat. And we'll get into it in a second. But do your best to work on lifting your chest, trying to hinge deeply at your hips, tone your legs, stand straight up please. Posterior pelvic tilt, hands to heart center. Inhale, exhale and drop your hands. Good. So we're a little bit warmed up. We hopefully are aware of our quadriceps and what a squat pattern looks like. Squat pattern is a lot of hip flexion and a lot of knee flexion. So now we're going to wake up some of the muscles of the squat and work on the squat pattern. Here I've got a stable, sturdy chair. If you do not have one, that's okay. Maybe put your hand onto a wall. Maybe not even use a wall or a chair at all. We can do this with or without. I'm opting to do it with, because the focus is going to be on the muscle groups, not so much the balance. If you're facing me, this will be your left hand. Left hand goes onto the chair or onto a wall or whatever. Left leg stays on the ground. What we're going to try to do is activate the psoas. The psoas is a muscle that's more or less, if you find your hip bone, you find your belly button, kind of in between, right in here, is your psoas. Your psoas is the muscle that flexes your hip. If your feet are glued to the ground and you activate the psoas, you'll go like this, because your hip flexes. If your feet aren't glued to the ground, they'll come up like this. Again, hip flexion. So, holding onto your chair, shifting your weight into the left. Bring your right knee up. Your right hand is going to push down into the right knee, and your right knee is going to lift up against your hand. And you're trying to feel muscle activation right between your hip bone and your belly button. A lot of times people say they feel it in the quadriceps. Maybe just over time with refinement, you'll start to get deeper into the hips, but try to focus on the hips, the hip muscles flexing your knee up. You're just pushing down a little bit into the knee is pushing up a little bit into the hand, just for a couple of breaths, just hopefully to wake up the psoas a little bit. Good, and we'll switch. Now, just because I don't want to turn around and mess up the camera angle, I'm going to keep my left hand here. Left knee comes up. Right hand presses here. Breathe. If you let your hand win a little, you may feel the psoas a little more. If your leg is so powerful that you're pushing your hand up, let the hand push the knee down a little bit. In that resistance, you might feel your psoas wake up. Just a couple more breaths. Good, and gently release. Okay. Now hopefully you feel right in here, right between your hip bones and your belly button, right in the middle, you feel this start to wake up a little bit. That's your psoas. Now we'll try squatting without squatting, which can be a balance pose, but if you have your chair or wall nearby, hold on to your chair with your left hand, left leg stays straight. Now your right knee, using your psoas, bring your right knee up and hold. And keep lifting the right knee up. Again, we're trying to wake up the psoas muscle. Now this is a key, because in squatting, most people try to avoid squatting. They don't lift their knee up to pull their body down. They push their leg down to lift their body up. We'll get into that in a second. But this pattern should be teaching you, lift your knee. Lift your knee. really work the psoas. Let's switch sides. Left hand stays on the chair. Left knee comes up. Lift your knee. So you're flexing your knee, you're flexing your hip, and you want to feel the psoas kick in. Keep lifting the knee. This is squatting without squatting. You'll see when we get to the actual exercise, you're trying to pull your knees up. You're not trying to push your body away. It'll make sense in a second. Hang in there for 3, 2, 1. Bring that knee down, please. So again, hopefully you feel kind of right in between your hip bones. You feel this muscle waking up. Now, what I was trying to explain earlier, squatting, at least the down phase, you're trying to decelerate towards the ground or decelerate towards the couch or whatever. But most people are trying to avoid it. They're trying to go up and down at the same time, and you get stuck. What we want to be able to do is pull ourselves down, decelerate on the way down to the earth, control it, and then decelerate on the way up as well. We'll get there in a second. Now, the hip hinge is the first half of the squat. I'm going to bring the chair into this. We'll get to it in a second. So now, as we do this hip hinge, focus here. Focus on the psoas. Let your arms go straight. Hands touch the front of your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees slightly. Now try to flex your hips here. Flex your hips. You still give yourself that anterior pelvic tilt, but see if you can feel it deep here in the psoas. Keep your chest lifting and keep operating from the psoas and push your hips back. The psoas is trying to close the gap between your leg and your guts. Breathe. Keep working that. Keep working the psoas. Keep working from inside the hips, not so much outside on the back. Hang in there and breathe with me for 3, but keep working the psoas. 2, 1, stay toned, stand up straight. Good. So now I'm going to turn sideways and we're going to do a squat. Watch me first, but let's see if we can do it together. Now, second mistake people make with the squat is they think the squat goes straight down. The squat goes out and down. If this represents your hips go back and down this way. So I'm going to put myself about 4 fingers away from my chair. Don't want to be too close, don't want to be too far. Hip hinge first. Hands to thighs. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees slightly. Use the psoas to flex the hips, chest up. Hip hinge. Now, from the hip hinge, I'm going to try to pull my knees up to my chest, lift my arms up, and squat down. So I'm controlling the descent. I barely feel my thighs touching the chair. Hip hinge, stand. Now, if you want to try it with me, we'll try once. If the seat is too low, grab some pillows, grab some blankets, and make the seat as high as you need to make it. The goal is to make sure you feel confident decelerating towards the earth, that you can control the descent, pause, and then stand. So with me, with or without a whole bunch of stuff on the chair, even without a chair, it's fine. Arms touch the front of your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees slightly. This is the rearward shift. Chest up, hip hinge. So we do the rearward shift, using the psoas to pull us into a really deep hip hinge. Keep the chest up. When you feel stuck in your hip hinge, arms out, kind of like Frankenstein, and start bending your knees. So you're flexing your knees, you're pulling your knees towards your chest. You're using the psoas to pull the femurs into flexion. Hover over the chair. Don't collapse into the chair. Try to hover over the chair or the pillows. Hip hinge. Stand up. Nice. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Hands to the front of your thighs. Inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees slightly. Lift your chest. Use your psoas to pull yourself into that anterior pelvic tilt. So you're flexing your hips here. Once you feel stuck, start to drop your hips. So you're going to flex your knees. You bend your knees. You flex your hips. Lift your chest. Maybe the arms come out to counterbalance. Maybe you only go 1 inch. It's okay. Maybe you go further than me. That's also okay. Come back to the hip hinge. And then stand up. So this is building up the squat pattern. Eventually, you'll squat and come back up. You won't have to do the hip hinge in the middle, but we're doing the hip hinge in the middle today because we're just developing the squat pattern. Let's go again. Arms straight, touch the front of your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, keep breathing, bend your knees slightly. Hinge from your hips. So these psoas muscles are pulling your femur bones closer to your guts. Keep your chest up. When you feel stuck, when you can't close this gap any further, lift your eyes, lift your arms, start to bend your knees. Maybe you only go 1 inch. Maybe you go all the way to the ground. Pause. Come back to the hip hinge. Stand up. Breathe. Last one. Hands to the front of your thighs. Inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees slightly. Anterior pelvic tilt. Rearward shift. When you feel stuck, stop. Look up. Raise your arms. Bend your knees. When you feel the pillows or the seat just barely touch your thigh, the back of your thigh, that's when you reverse. Rearward shift. Stand up. Nice work. Let's move the chair out of the way, please. Shake out any residual tension you may feel. And just like we did at the beginning of class, let's test the squat now. If you feel like you need your chair, grab the chair again, no problem. Practice over your couch, whatever you have nearby that's going to make you feel safe. But let's test the squat. So we did it before. We did some yoga poses. Now we're going to do it after. Feet about hip width apart. Turn your feet out just about 15 degrees, not too wild. Hands out to counterbalance. And squat. Don't overthink it. Don't overdo it. And how did that squat feel compared to the first squat? There are no wrong answers. It's just hopefully it felt easier or freer. Maybe you got a little deeper, etc. Okay, let's take our feet wide. So now we'll do a little bit of counter stretching after all that leg work. This is the Shivananda triangle. So keeping your legs pretty wide. Toes pointing forward, legs straight. Let your left hand touch your left leg. Right hand comes up like you're asking a question. Inhale. As you exhale, tip to your left. And breathe. I don't know if you just heard that pop. Sometimes you get a chiropractic adjustment with this one. So I'm trying to stretch from my middle finger all the way down to my outside ankle bone. Breathe. For 3, keep your legs toned. 2, stay toned. 1, come up to a T. Switch your arms, please. Let your right arm touch the outside of your right thigh. Left arm comes up. Inhale. As you exhale, go the other side. Breathe. Make sure that you're tipping sideways. So your t-shirt should face forward. Don't let your t-shirt point to the ground. Breathe here for 3, 2, 1. Stay toned. Come on up. Hands to your waist. Keep your legs wide, please. Inhale. Bring your ears up to your shoulders. Let's reverse that. Bring your shoulders up to your ears. Keep them high. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep them up high. Pull your shoulder blades down so you get a real big lift through your chest. Hands stay on your waist. Inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees slightly. Use your psoas to flex your hips. So you get that anterior pelvic tilt. You get that hip hinge. And breathe here. Keep working your shoulder blades down and towards your spine. And keep working the psoas to pull your torso down. It's called hip flexion. Hang in there with me for 3. Keep working the shoulder blades. 2, 1. Pull the yoga mat apart about 1 inch. Tone your legs. Stand up, please. Good. To the best of your ability, let's turn our feet together. Reset your posture with mountain pose, please. Big inhale here. Exhale. Let's work our way down to the ground. Nice work. Once we're flat on the ground, bring your knees to your chest, please. You know what? I'm going to use the chair. It's here, so let's use it. You don't have to if you don't want to. But I really like using this for final relaxation. If you want to use the chair along with me, just kind of scoot close to the chair. Scoot as close as you can. Lie flat on your back. Bring your knees to your chest. Try to keep your shoulders down, away from your ears. As much bony structures, as many bony structures as you can on the ground. And now let's put our feet on the chair. I should say put your calves on the chair. Now, I'm going to roll up and grab the legs of the chair and pull towards me a little bit. You can do the same. Just trying to make sure that we have more or less a 90-degree angle from the knees to the femurs. Maybe manually tilt your pelvis a little more. If you like, grab onto the legs of your chairs just a little bit, just to keep your shoulders moving down away from your ears. Give it a nice little tug. Inhale, then release. Close your eyes, please. And let's be quiet for about 1 minute. Keep your eyes closed as you come back. Bring your knees to your chest. Put a little smile on your face. Just breathe normally. Let's roll to one side. Make a pillow with your hands and just lie still and breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently come up to a seated position. Any way you can. Try not to be super dramatic if you can help it. Sit up nice and tall, please. Hands to heart center in a prayer fashion. Thank you for sharing intermediate yoga with me. I hope you will go forth and be awesome. Namaste.